everyone. In today's example, I want to show you how to create the same chart on Excel, Power BI, and Tableau. And what we want to do is to create a reference line in a way that any value that is above the reference line will come in a green color, and any value that is below will come in a gray color. So this is the data set with which we are working. I will just make a copy on a different sheet. The first thing we want to do is to give the user the control of choosing the parameter value. So we will say this is my reference line, and let us keep it at a number for now. So let's keep it at 1,000,000. The next thing we will do is to say above and below. So we want to write a conditional statement. If the value for accessories is above the reference line, we want to show the value. Otherwise, we want to put a blank. And in the case of below, if the value for accessories is below the reference line of 1,000,000, we want to show the value, otherwise a blank. So we will say that if the value for all the 17 products that we have is greater than or equal to the reference line, then my result should be the same C3 to C19 cells, otherwise a blank. And as you can see, only these 6 are above the reference line. We can copy this, and the only thing we need to change here is to make it less than. And as you would expect, it is exactly the opposite. If it's above, it will not be below. Or rather, if it is above, it will not be below. And if it's below, it will not be above. Just to give you a glimpse, if I change the reference line like this, you can see that there are only 2 values that are below 100,000. All the others are above 100,000. So let's change it back to 1,000,000. Now we will only select these columns. So we have the product, the above and the below, not the original sales column. Let's create a chart. So insert, and we have a chart like this. Now, before we do that, let's also create a reference line column so that we can also see the reference line on the chart directly. So we will just say equal to $K, $2. I will press Control Enter. And one more time, let's select all of these, and we will create a chart. As you can see, we have 3 colors that are coming. We have the blue for above, the orange for below, and the gray for the reference line. Let's change the colors here. So for the blue, I'm going to select a green. And for the ones that are below, which is the orange, we will select an orange here. I'm going to choose a slightly different shade for the orange, like this. And then finally, for the reference line, we will keep it at a gray, but we will right click, change the chart type, go to combo. And as you can see, it has automatically put the reference line as the line. In case it doesn't happen automatically, you can always manually change it to the line like this. Now, the only thing left is that we have to overlap both the columns. So we can simply double click and change the series overlap to 100% and also reduce the gap width so that they look a little thicker and it's easier to see the data. There you go. Once you have done this, you can see that as we change the reference line, for example, if I make it 100,000, The values below are yellow in color. There are only 2 of them. If I make it 500,000, then we can see that these 8 are below and the rest are above. And if I make it 1 million, then we can see that these 6 are above and all the others are below. The calculations that we have written here are for above, below, and the reference line, but you can use any calculation that you want in case you want to find the top n, bottom n, above average, below average. The big takeaway here is that you have to create 2 columns or maybe more than that, and you have to overlap all of them. Let's go back to our Excel file, and we will now load this in Tableau. Let's connect to our Excel file, which is on my desktop. Let's go to the sheet. Now, the first thing that I would like to do here is to select my product and then select my sales value and then convert this into a bar chart, and we will swap the rows and columns so that we can see the chart like this. I will also right click and rotate the label so that we can see them more clearly. Now for the reference line, we need to create a parameter. So right click and then create parameter. For the parameter, we will say choose the ref line. This will be an integer, which is the range from 1 all the way till, let's say, 1.25 million. Right click and then show the parameter, and this will appear here on the right side. And as you can see, I can move this left and right. To add the reference line to the chart, select the y-axis, right click, and then add a reference line. And here we will say that rather than selecting the average of the sales value, we will choose the reference line parameter that we have created. We also want to show the value here. And let's also make this a little thicker and okay. As you can see, when I move the reference line, it changes on the chart as well. Now we need to have a conditional statement similar to Excel, where we want to find out if the subcategory is above or below that. So we go to analysis and select create calculated field. Here we will say above or below. And we will say that if the sum of sales is greater than or equal to the choose ref line, then I would like to say H for high, else I would like to say L for low. And we will also end the statement. Click on OK, and then drag the calculated field into the color, and we will get 2 colors here. We can also click on color, edit color, and for the high, we can select one color, and for the low, we will select a different color. So let me select a green and a yellow, and this is the result that we get. All the values below the reference line have a yellow color, all the ones that are above have a green color. We can also move the parameter left and right, and as you will see, as the reference line moves, the color changes as well. Let us now do the same thing in Power BI. So what we will do here is to first connect to our Excel file. Select the sheet, load the data. And we will start by making a simple column chart. And we will keep the product in the axis and the sales in the values. And we'll also make this a little larger like this. Let me also sort the axis not by the sales value, but by the product so that they appear in an alphabetical order like this. Similar to what we had done in Tableau, we are doing the same thing here as well. All right. Now we would like to get a reference line. So we will go to new measure. And we will say that this is my reference line. And we will just keep a number here. So we'll make it, let us say, 1,000,000. Now, if we put the reference line measure in the values, you notice that it only comes as a column. And even if you make it a clustered column chart, it will come as a column, even though it is uniform. So we would like to change this to a line and stacked column chart. And we will put the reference line in the column series, or rather in the line values, so that we get this. So this looks great. But then what about the colors that we wanted? So we will go to new measure one more time, and we will say ref line color. And we will say that if my sum of sales is greater than or equal to the ref line that we have created, comma, then the result should be H, or let's just keep it 1 and 2. Let's press enter. Now on the chart, we will go to formatting and then select columns and then select the conditional formatting option. On this, we can choose the field value. Now the thing is that if I choose my ref line color field, you see that we are not able to select it. In this particular example, it's beyond the scope of me being able to cover it. But for now, let's just select a rule. And in the rule as well, we can choose the ref line color. And we will say that if the value is equal to 1, then we want a green color. So I'm going to choose a green here. Let me choose a slightly lighter green. I think that looks good. New rule, and if the value is equal to 2, then I want to keep a yellow color like this. Click on OK, and as you can see, we are able to get 2 colors like this. Now what is left here is that in the ref line, we have written 1,000,000, but of course, we would like to ask the user what number they want, right? For this, we will go to modeling and select new parameter. Let's call this parameter ref line input. We will choose it to be from 1 all the way till 1.25 million. And the moment you input this new parameter, it automatically creates a slicer for us. And in the table, you can see we have the ref line input, which is a generate series from 1 to 1.25 million with an increment of 1. And then we also have a companion measure, which is the selected value. That means that any number that I'm selecting in the slicer is being saved in ref line input value. So this ref line input value is what we will put in the ref line. Like this. Let's press enter. One final step that I would want you to make is, let me put a border and shadow as well. The final step I would like you to make is that make sure the axes are matching for the primary and the secondary y-axis. Now, of course, we can't see the secondary y-axis now. So we will go to format. And then in the primary y-axis, I will set it from 0 to, let us say, 1.5 million. And the same thing we'll do for the secondary y-axis as well. We'll turn it on from 0 to 1.5 million, and we can turn it off if we want. And as you would expect, now as I move my refline input left and right, you can also see that the colors are changing. So just to wrap everything up and summarize it, I'm going to put my Excel here. Then I'll keep my Tableau and Power BI here. And give me a moment to set up everything in a way that you can see it. So as you can see, everyone, we have done the same thing on all the three tools. We have done it on Excel, on Tableau, and on Power BI. Now, in a way, if you think about it, the process remains the same. We have to create a refline parameter. In Excel, we simply wrote it in a cell. In Tableau, we had to create a parameter. And in Power BI, we had to create this slicer using the modeling and new parameter option. Of course, the formula looks quite different. Excel and Tableau are similar in that way. In Power BI, what we were doing was to use an if statement for 1 and 2, and that was put in the conditional formatting. But broadly, I think the process remains the same. And I am a strong believer in the fact that learnings should be transferable. And if you learn to do it in one tool, you should be able to quickly apply it in other tools as well.